Disloyal, Michael Cohen. Here we go. President Trump's personal attorney, lawyer. All right. Michael Cohen uh, did a good job with this book. He covered a lot of things with it. Again, it's not a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you everything about the book because, of course, anybody that's going to read it, they don't want to know every single thing about it. But I'll cover like the highlights just to let you know. Anybody who just to maybe interested in reading, you get a little bit of it. But as far as everything I see with Michael, he's a good soldier to Donald Trump. A little background. Actually, Donald Jr. had brought them two together. It was over a real estate dispute. Cohen fought, won, and then after that, he won big, and of course, he was in the circle after that. Cohen grew up in New York. A lot of people already know that. Everybody read about a bunch of stuff about Cohen. He grew up in New York. He hung around a lot of mobsters, like in the '80s. Of course, in the '80s, there's a lot more mobsters in New York. Different scene. Uh, and the name of the club was the El Carib Swim Club, Gym Club. Yep. A lot of mobsters hang out there. He picked up a lot of stuff from them. He was never a mobster, but he know a lot of stuff about the different things with them. Picked up a few things. Early on, he fought a lot of battles with Trump. The allegations, the grabbing the woman by the pussy was another allegation with someone he forced. Like again, not to give up the everything in the book, but a lot of this stuff is in the headline, so it's not news, not groundbreaking. But with the forcing himself on someone in Ivanka's room, when she, 12-year-old Ivanka back then went in her room, forced himself on somebody in there. He worked it out with Cohen, basically saying that the ex-husband was trying to get money. They worked the deal. I won't get into the details of that. If anybody don't know, they could just, of course, they could read it, and everybody else probably seen it online or read it on the news. One of the things that was interesting, he said that with the IRS, one time Cohen was in there with Trump and he got a return back from the IRS, and it was a $10 million check that Trump got from the IRS. He showed it to Cohen and saying, "I can't believe the IRS is so stupid. Who would give me $10 million?" I said, "Wow." Definitely felt like all black-run countries with shitholes. Cohen said he definitely said that. He went over that. Had a hard time with Obama, real hard time with Obama, mimicking him. Going over like talking about again. I won't go over everything. One of the things that was something. It was a story. I'm trying to think of how to say this without giving the book up, but it was Trump with the evangelicals when he went to gain their favor. Because actually, Michael Cohen said it that Trump actually is pro-choice, but he said that he wasn't just to gain favor with the evangelicals, get their support. He worshipped with them, and according to Michael, you gotta if you read the book and you'll see Michael said he put on a show for those evangelical high up ministers, the wives and so forth. So went over a little bit of Trump's complicated three-step comb over. I don't really care nothing about all that kind of stuff, but he kind of went into that. It's a book, so you're going to add all that stuff. The golden shower, he went into that. He said he asked the security guard. Security guard said it wasn't true. So, of course, as far as Michael was concerned, he said that everybody he asked said that it wasn't true, not to mean that it isn't. And he was told to tell Melania that it was all BS. So, you got that. Trump said to Cohen he at that time, I think it was 2016, he was in the CNBC poll for the most important businessmen of the past 25 years, and he was like number 30 or something like that. Anyway, he got Cohen to go in, got his guy to go in, manipulated, get him up to 9, and once he got there, he started bragging to everybody, and Cohen thought it was interesting how he got him to do it. I won't, you gotta read it to see how he did it. But he did a few complicated things where he's starting to learn how to manipulate polls and stuff with Cohen folks and working it, but with the IP addresses and stuff like that. It was weird because what happened in CNBC manually removed him from the list. They fought that battle, and Cohen just was like, "I'm gonna just let it go because I don't want anybody to really figure out what happened." So he just let me go. The farewells, I know some people heard about that story with the evangelical farewells, with the pictures, the naked pictures, and how he helped them out with that and got that. Cohen helped them out. They end up helping him out later. You can read about that. Also, when Trump wanted to buy the something, this is a key thing too. When Trump wanted to buy the Buffalo Bills, they wanted $1 billion, and no bank would give him the money. No bank in the whole United States would give him the money. Nobody would give him a loan. The only bank that he can get a loan with is that Deutsche Bank. Get into that more later. But he wasn't able to secure the billion to buy the Buffalo Bills. So it's you know when he did finally decide to run, he said he don't like the New York Times, but actually he contacted the New York Times, all the time. That he cares about them the most when it comes to running stories and going over stuff. Actually, that was that first contact that Cohen made to let everyone know that Trump was running. And something that was genius about the thing with Trump's election, because he didn't really spend a lot of money, but as everybody know the story, the history on it is that he used the media, with chaos. Obviously, it wasn't for good, but it was genius. Though he used the media for chaos every time, the media came up with something, or anytime he fell out of favor with the media, or they stopped reporting on him, he would just tweet something crazy just to get the attention back, say something crazy in an interview, and everybody would just turn back to him. I thought that was, but the way that Cohen broke it down, and again, you have to read it or audio book it or whatever, and just see how Cohen really breaks it down. But it was a little genius there. And with Russia and Hillary Clinton. Hillary had insulted Putin, insulting Russia, talked about the oligarchs. She talked about the government manipulation, the media manipulation, everything. She went over all of that. Of course, that upset Putin. Then you have Trump running for office and Trump working on a deal in Russia. And the way that Cohen broke it down, it wasn't that Trump actually knew how to connect with Russia. It was more so that the collusion was more so that they both had the same enemy and they connected without actually having to say anything, if that makes sense. And he breaks it down further, but that's where the collusion came from. Wasn't the collusion what you're thinking, like as if he actually had somebody connect and all of that. It was like a lot of Trump talking without talking, and them having a mutual enemy, and also with them working on Trump with his deal. So, oh yeah, and he even said that Cohen said he had a really good relationship with Ivanka before she got married. It soured a little bit after the marriage and all of that. He even said, one time with Kushner, he had broke up with Ivanka one time, and she came and told Michael Cohen and was talking about it on the helicopter and stuff, talking about how he had broke up with her because Kushner's mother wanted him to marry an Orthodox girl. So went into a little about that Russia deal with the Moscow Tower. Of course, you've seen that on the news and everywhere, but that's something that he breaks down a little further. He go into how they formed it, who talked, how Trump would benefit, and the way it worked was that Trump wanted to work a deal with Russia, and he was also trying to work it where he was going to get a network, a TV network, radio network, all of it. and he didn't really want to win. He didn't even think he was going to win. And actually, he told everybody he wasn't going to win. He told Mike Cohen he wasn't going to win. They were preparing for him to lose and then move right into the TV, media, and all of that and continue to work on that deal in Russia. But the problem was that he won. So it switched. And it's a lot into why, you feel like that he won. A lot of manipulation, manipulation with the polls, a lot of manipulation with social media, and possibly even hacking into some of the election machines. But after all of that, of course, moving on, not to give up all of the book, but of course, that, and this is important, like I would say you want to read the part in between that and when Cohen, what led up to Cohen going to jail. He felt like that Trump didn't have his back. He breaks it down further as far as like what happened. He ended up getting 36 months. He got out early because of COVID. He had complications, so COVID broke out, so he got out early. This was a good book. Trump tried to stop him from writing this book. Of course, there's a lot of stuff in this. There's a lot of stuff in this book I didn't go over. It would take me this would probably turn into an hour and a half book review, easy, if I go over all the stuff. I'm not going to do that. I definitely encourage anybody to read this book. It's a great book. It's a good book by Mike. He put it together. He said he wrote it when he was inside Otisville. And he said Otisville was like the worst summer camp your parents can go to. He said it really didn't feel like jail. It just felt like a bad summer camp. He said he was in there with a lot of executives. It was all white collar guys in there. A lot of big shots that, just whatever reason, tax evasions, the other things that they was caught up in, money laundering, stuff like that. There's a lot of big shots in there with that. But yeah, good book. I recommend anybody to pick it up, check it out. This book along with everything else, but this book here, he went so deep into the thinking of Trump and why Trump did certain things. It's like you almost dive into Trump's mind and his brain on how he thinks, why he does the things he do, how he treated his kids, how he treated him, how he treated people around him. He just slowly kind of takes you there in the way that Trump thinks, and him being like a mob boss and all of that. And he still says he still got love for Trump. They spent all that time together. But I would say that when you read it or audiobook, listen to it, you'll see how he take you into the mind. And then it's weird because a lot of other stuff start making sense. What Trump does now, based on the things he's doing here, and how Cohen feels that he's going to do anything to win this next election. Anything. If that means manipulation, if that means getting involved with Russia. This was that signed limited edition too. What is it? Here. Oh, here we go. Yeah. The signature there, he signed that. That was like one of the first I ordered it. I was one of the first ones to order it, but somehow, clearly I was one of the last ones to get it. I was waiting on it to come, but that's a whole nother thing. The USPS, I don't know how in the world it take me longer to get it. I ordered it. I don't know. Was it pre-ordered it maybe a week ago or a week before the release, something like that. Yeah. So I was supposed to already have it, and now we're supposed to be voting through the mail, and they can't. The tracking, it's like you can't even. I don't get it. You can't even track it. You don't know where stuff is. All right. Anyway, but yeah, great book, great read. Look into it, and I'll check it out. All right. Let me know what y'all think. All right.